What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and welcome to our Spec Ops 19 first look and overview. I do have an awesome extended intro for this one, and I plan on showing that during the first part of the task list. But for now, let's take a look at the items and the new characters. First, it looks like the boss of Mission 1 is going to be Mr. Sinister. That's pretty awesome. He's a really cool villain in my opinion. But now let's go ahead and see what item you can get from Mission 1. This weapon is called the Devitalizer. It hits one enemy and places the debuff manipulated on them. Manipulated suppresses most effects that prevent or remove debuffs. So this is pretty interesting, and I'm wondering how to work against Invisible Woman's E-ISO or something like prevent debuffs from Iron Fist. Next up in Mission 2 we do have the epic boss Bastion. He looks like he could be a formidable opponent, especially against mutants. Next for this mission we do have the regular boss item as well as the epic boss drop. First, I assume is going to be the Mark of the Brotherhood. This is for all allies. It is a buff, so you can make it a quick action with the Tactician Empowered costume. That is, if you equip it with the Quick Empowered ISO weight. It has Taking a Stand. Allied mutants gain Rally and Morale Boost. Morale Boost increases attack, defense, accuracy, and evasion. And Rally causes the next buff action to become a quick action. Then we also have Brothers Till the End. When a friendly mutant is defeated, remaining mutants are healed. I have to say I'm really excited about that item, and I plan on trying this entire Spec Ops to win it. Then we have the Integrated Intelligence Set 4 of 4. The Calculated Response has special functionality, so it may not be activated manually. It does give you a chance to take reduced damage and resist crits from attacks. Then if you have 2 pieces of the set, you'll gain reactive armor. Defensive systems greatly reduce damage based on the last type received. At 3 pieces of the set, you'll gain disadvantage, so creates a negative effect according to the class of the target. And with all 4 set items, you gain predictive systems. Chance to gain the positive aspects of the target's class. Then moving on to Sebastian Shaw in Mission 3. By the way, there seems to be a lot of really cool villains in this Spec Ops, and I'm definitely excited to see them all. Anyways, Mission 3's item is called Old Ebony. It's also a buff, so it can become a quick action as well, and it's going to grant Fortified and Dignified Protector. Protects allies from most single target attacks, and takes reduced damage from follow-ups and counterattacks. All in all, there seems to be some decent items to be had in each mission. Next, moving on to the task list, we first come across the early research item, the EMP Sweeper. This causes obsolete technology and has 3,820 offense and the same defense. So there's a pretty decent armory upgrade for anyone who needs it. And next we have the blueprint for the Cuff Guard. This is only a self buff, so it's kind of disappointing, but it does grant Rising Up. It's upgradable, so let's see if it gets any better. Next we have the Cuff Interface, and it grants Rising Up and a shield. Unfortunately, it still only applies to your agent. But then we have yet another upgrade, and now it's a part of the Integrated Intelligence Set. The Cuff Link now applies Rising Up and a shield. Then if you have 2 pieces, it gives you Epiphany, 3 pieces, it gives you Stealthy, and if you have the entire set, it gives you Chaos Shield, plus all the previous buffs, of course. So far this set seems pretty interesting, but the fact that this is a tech ability, unfortunately does raise a few flags. This means that obsolete tech could really shut it down. But who knows, and most likely I won't be able to complete this set anyways. Truthfully, I'm just hoping that I'm lucky enough to get the Mark of the Brotherhood. Now as far as the character is concerned, it's Cannonball, and he is a blaster. He has 2 passive abilities, Blast Off and Last Man Standing. First, he has a 20% chance to dodge, and attacks dodged this way grant Rising Up. Then, when an ally is KO'd, he increases attack, accuracy, defense, and evasion. I have to say I really like that dodge granting Rising Up. It's adding insult to injury, because basically you dodge the attack, and then you get buffs from doing it. That would have to frustrate your opponent. Now moving on to his team page, we're going to take a look at all of his abilities. There are his passives once again, and he does have high attack and evasion. Then his first ability is called Comin' Through. This is an unarmed melee kinetic attack that exploits shields, has high crits, and something called Expanded Field. This states that while Kinetic Field is active, this action gains Shield Slam. but then this action consumes Kinetic Field. Oh, and by the way, it also has Shield Breaker, so this guy really hates shielded opponents. Next, we're going to see exactly what Kinetic Field is. First off, it is going to be a self-buff. Its special property is Cry Uncle. While Kinetic Field is active, this action is replaced with Nothing's Impossible. Then Kinetic Field itself reduces damage taken by attacks to 0, but this does not affect Ignore Defense, Magic, or Psychic attacks, and it counts as a shield for purposes of attacks. Alright, so I guess we'll have to see what Nothing's Impossible does. But first, onto our level 6. It's called Crash Landing. This is a ground attack that hits all enemies, and while Kinetic Field is active, it gains Breakthrough. This action also consumes Kinetic Field. Then it's also going to place Winded, Off Balance, and Exhausted on all the enemies at once. That's pretty epic, and I can't wait to use them with characters like Skirn, the Breaker of Men. Then for his level 9, it's called Cleared for Takeoff. It applies Melt Armor, and it gives himself Afterburners, so it grants an immediate extra turn. Okay, not too bad, we'll have to see what kind of damage it does. That is, once he has all his ISO weight and he's fully buffed. Then moving on to his second page, it appears only Nothing's Impossible is new. The rest of the abilities I believe are the same, but this one in particular should have you pretty excited. It's an unarmed melee kinetic attack that has Brutal Strike, Deadly Crits, Finest Hour, and then it also has something called Matter of Perspective. While Kinetic Field is inactive, the action is replaced with Kinetic Field. This action consumes Kinetic Field, and knocking out an enemy with this attack grants Kinetic Field. But yeah, Deadly Crits attack with Brutal Strike and Finest Hour. That's going to be an incredible knockout move. Characters with resurrection effects won't even be safe. I for one can't wait to see the damage that we get with that one. Then lastly, for our first look at Spec Ops 19, we do have a brand new lockbox character. It's Avalanche, and his boxes are called Boombox, so that's kind of a funny name. And of course there are 8 covers to collect. Then moving on to the character himself and his abilities, Avalanche is going to be a scrapper. He has 2 passives as well. First, Making Waves. Gains an increasing damage buff whenever an ally uses a sonic or ground attack. And next we have The Sky is Falling. Ally sonic and ground attacks have a 50% chance to create falling debris. Alrighty then, let's bring on the ground attack teams. It looks like we're going to need a lot of erupting AISO. Now the only thing left to do is take a look at all of his abilities. First up we have Fault Line. It's a ground attack, and it has Opportunist. I love Exploit Opportunity, and right away there's plenty of team-ups that come to mind. Once again we have an opportunity to use Skirn, the Breaker of Men. Then the next attack we have is called Shockwave. It's catastrophic, so it can't be protected against, it ignores most avoidance effects, and it's guaranteed to hit. Although I do have to say that PD's guaranteed is different from the definition in the dictionary. Oh, and it also causes resonating, so removes beneficial status effects from the target, and prevents the next one applied. Then Avalanche's level 6 is Epicenter. It's a quick action. It hits all enemies with Generalized and Exhausted. Then it's going to give all your allies feedback. They're reverberating at a frequency that sends shockwaves back at the attackers. And then moving on to his level 9, his final ability, that's right, it's the big one. This is an AoE ground attack that exploits Opportunity, has high crits, and Seismic. This attack consumes all stacks of seismic activity to deal extra damage. I'm hoping that with enough debuffs this is an entire team killing ability. Honestly, it may turn out to be just that, but the total damage does start kind of low. Still, I'm sure it's going to hurt the entire enemy wave quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to unlocking this character. Well, that's going to be it for our first look and overview. I want to thank you all for watching, and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I wish you the best of luck in Spec Ops 19, and please take care.